Today we're going to talk with you about energy. Energy is really important. Energy moves us all around. Energy keeps our lights burning. Energy is, one of the most important things, I think, in our lives.
Everything is energy.
Everything is energy. So we're going to deep dive in the Chinese market. We're going to deep dive in the European market. And we're going to show you how to invest in it, why you should invest in it, and we prepared a lot of information for you. We're going to try to make it as short as possible so you can get the clear message that we want to give you with this. Casper, what sorts of energy are there, and is energy a asset class or an asset class that you should have in your portfolio?
Yeah, that's what we were talking about this week. Is it a separate asset class? I think I have an opinion, but after our vlog, you can make your own opinion.
I'm not surprised that you have an opinion.
Looking at the world on the world scale to the energy production at this moment, then we see that 30% is still coming from oil, 27% is coming from coal, natural gas is good for 23-24%, renewables between 10 and 15, and nuclear power is only 5%.
So little, eh? Very little.
It's very little, yeah. We didn't do deep dive in which country pursues, etc. And what we're always doing in this vlog to discuss world topics from an economical or social perspective, but we always want to translate it because you and I are investors. We are investors, so we want to give you something on an investment scale to decide if you can do with it or not. Martin already said we're going to talk a lot about China and Europe, but only looking at this world scale that I just said, how can you invest in it? And then you are investing in the companies that produce it. The funny thing, I know, don't kind of funny, but the thing is that oil and gas, and we're talking about the ETFs now, are almost always combined. So you also have loose one, but most of the time it's an ETF that invests in producers of oil and gas. We selected 3 iShares, but watch out. This one is called iShares Oil and Gas Exploration and Production. But the costs are 55 basis points, not a cheap one. Then you have extractors. They also produce an MSCI World Energy with the focus on oil and gas. Focus, so not all of it, only 25 basis points. And iShares also they produce another one. It's called World Energy Sector. Also a little bit broader exposure with only 18 basis points. So that's oil and gas combined. Then the renewables. It's a little bit difficult because if you look at, for example, the solar market over the last 10 years, it went down a lot. All the people that invested, that wanted to help the world, wanted to help themselves, also invested a lot in solar ETFs, and they lost on average a lot of money, and that's because we're going to talk later about that, why that is. Mm-hmm. But if you believe in clean energy and you're looking for a little bit broader one than only solar or only wind energy, iShares Global Clean Energy Transition. So from iShares, 56 basis points. Wisdom Tree Renewable Energy, 45 basis points. There are also ones that only invest in solar, but we want to highlight again that this is a risky sector. But there are ones that only invest in wind and in solar. And then the last one, the nuclear one, still only 5% of the world production. Global X Uranium, 65 basis points of cost. iShares Nuclear Energy and Uranium Mining, 50 basis points. Yeah. So I think looking at from above to the world, and you believe more maybe in nuclear or you believe more in oil and gas, then you can select and create your own mini portfolio on those producers with ETFs.
Yeah, absolutely.
China.
Yes, China. I think this week a lot of news was going about the NATO top that was held, and also Trump was speaking there, and he had to mention a lot of things. And one of the points he mentioned is that China is one of the largest contaminators of the world, to say it like that. Almost 30 or 31% of the CO2 emissions are coming from China. And I think you want to say something about that. You have
everything what Trump says you have to fact check. And in this case, we didn't fact check that percentage, but we looked at what is all the products and services, many products on a world scale, who are producing that. And the biggest producer is China with 31%. So it's the same number as the pollution figure of the CO2.
Yeah.
But so at this moment, it is not the same. Because you can say, okay, but we don't produce anything, and we also don't produce CO2. Yeah, okay, but you consume it. It's made for you. It's a little easy to say they produce it, but they have a lot of CO2.
No, actually, exactly. He said, yeah, but what they do is they sell windmills like hell, but they themselves use mainly coal and gas and almost anything that has to do with fossil fuels and not so much the green energy sources. Well, at this this moment that is maybe still the case, but I mean there's a huge change going on in China. I mean if you do a bit of homework, you have a couple of free hours, go on YouTube and just type in transformation of China, and you will see mind-blowing things. You were in China in January, you came back with things that blew your mind, right? And it's true. If you look at simple things, the change of Shanghai in 45 years. They have a very large strategic advantage, and they're increasing that. They're investing a lot in it. And if you look at the production of machines that are used to generate green energy, Casper, I mean, I think
it's mind blowing.
It's mind blowing, right?
If you look at the worldwide solar production, 92% of that is produced by China.
Yeah,
92% of all the solar products. You're looking at the wind turbines, 82%. 82% of all the wind turbines are made in China. So I think China is doing three things very well on an energy level. They produce a lot of products that are needed for clean energy, for renewable energy, like the solar and the wind. They produce a lot of energy themselves. They consume a lot of energy, but they produce also, and I think what they produce is going really fast to clean and renewable energy. And also they understand a little bit the energy transport model, the infrastructure, and that their advantage, of course, that China is really big. It's one country. Europe is also big, but population is really on certain areas really really heavy.
yeah.
And it's more old-fashioned because of legacy energy network.
Yeah, absolutely. You see that there. If you look in the essence, United States also in certain areas there's a very strong grid around the data centers in Virginia, for instance. But then in other areas of the U.S., yeah, it's very scarce. And yeah, China has what you just mentioned. Indeed, they've developed. So we all talk about artificial intelligence, but they basically developed an artificial intelligence grid. So they have a network of electricity that is capable to think by itself when to produce more, when to produce less, when to switch off, when to do this. Well, they will never switch it off completely, but when to store more, when to store less, but also a method of you just asked me, are they using more fossil fuels? At this moment, yes, but they are developing a method to transfer energy in such a efficient and quick way to areas where they're now still using fossil fuels. So they're so much more advanced or ahead than we, for instance, in Europe. In Europe, we have not the dilemma, but the trilemma. Are we going to do it with our own machines from, for instance, Siemens, or we're going to do it from, we're going to lend the energy from the US, or are we going to buy the stuff from China? Another big advantage of China, and it's all related to those solar panels and also the battery, of course, is the rare earth elements. You need to make this, you need very specific stuff that comes from our beautiful planet. 80 to 90% of all those materials are coming from China. And that is also why the United States is so dependent on China for this specific part. Batteries in China, there they have the material to build it. The United States does not have that material.
Yeah, I do agree. There are four pillars.
Four pillars, yeah.
The rare earth metals is you can call it the fourth pillar.
Yeah.
And if you look at China, and so going back to my seat, what I have in front of me.
Yeah.
So the 92% of all the solar production is in China, and 82% of all the wind turbines. Can you share a couple of Chinese producers of those important producers of those products, but that we can buy, we as Europeans can buy.
Yeah. So we did, of course, have been an investigation. How can you, step into this? If you look at wind, one of the largest wind turbine manufacturers, so not on China soil only, worldwide, it's Goldwind Science and Technology. They are the top wind turbine manufacturer of the world. Forward PE of 17.6, significantly lower than the current PE, which is around 30. So they expect this company to grow tremendously. Well, if you buy a company on the stock market, you want it to grow because that's why you buy it, right? Substantial market capitalization, 16.48 Hong Kong.
How are they called?
Goldwind Science and Technology. Yeah, and if you look at the solar part, so the major global solar panel manufacturer, Jinko Solar, forward PE of 13. At current, they're trading around 15. So also there, they expect substantial growth. 1.3 billion companies. So we're talking about big companies in US dollars. And to finish off with another wind turbine company, Ming, forward PE of 13. And at current, they're trading around 100 times the earnings. So they really expect this one. This is an interesting one. Ming Energy Group got hammered quite badly in 2023. Price is picking up again, and they expect this company to grow significantly over the next coming years. So those are three companies: Goldwind, Jinko Solar, and Ming Smart Energy, that you can buy in your trading platform if you want to buy and to look into exposure on the Chinese production of those machines.
And if we promised you to also look at the European market and to look at what's happening in the market. So how is the development of the different kind of energy producement, and also how can you benefit from, if you want to invest only in a European, without the currency risk, European energy company, as an example.
As an example, you have two companies. One of them is Spanish. They're actually
first the market.
First the market. Sorry. So the market on itself, I think it stands for itself that we all know that oil and gas will go down. Now, how much is it going down? At current, they count for about 37 and 20%. So oil is about 37, gas about 20, declining between 5 and 10% over the next 5 years. If you look at renewables,
not that much.
It's not huge, but because it's still needed, right? I mean, even if you build something from plastic, you need oil.
No, it's consumption.
Consumption, but consumption for the plastic, it's still a requirement. Renewables, if you look at electricity only, let's cluster it in electricity only. 45.3% of the gross electricity consumption at current is coming from renewables, and it is expected that will be more, not just 65, will be more than 65%, depending, of course, on how quickly we can roll out the grid. And with renewables, we understand wind, offshore wind, and solar. What are the companies that you would look into buying on a European landscape, so that are main players, not only in Europe, but also worldwide? Enel in Italy. You can buy that for €8. At the moment, it's 11 times the earnings. It's not giving a huge amount of growth, especially not if you compare it to the Chinese
but do those
peers.
Analysts, do they know the outlook of that?
I hope they do, because that's their work. Otherwise, they should look at a vlog, right? And the other company I think you all know is Iberdrola, €16 per share. Also 16 times the earnings. Also here, not huge growth expectations, and that is something that stands a bit cross on the Chinese ones. Anything that you would like to add before we round off, Casper?
No, I want to conclude. I think, because you said in the beginning, of course you have an opinion. I don't have always an opinion, but I think energy should be an asset class in your portfolio. You can say, for example, 5% of my portfolio should be related to energy. And then you can buy oil or you can buy gas, the future on it. We didn't speak about that. We spoke more about the producers and the growth or the decline, and also the producers of the company that help them, that are needed for the fastest growing sub-energy sector, renewable energy. And then automatically you are in China, because with 98 and 82%. So even if you take China out as a country itself and how great they are doing, if you look on a world scale, and then you that you can focus on the producers of the energy or the producer of the products.
Yeah.
And I think, to conclude, I always have it in my mind that the demand of the energy of the cloud that will increase from 2% now of the world energy consumption to 20%. Only that already.
That's huge.
That means that the energy will explode with a growing population, etc., etc. So I think it is an asset class. Decide for yourself how big you want to be in there, and then there are all ETFs or all individual stocks that you can invest in. And we spoke about it a lot. And reach out to us.
Yeah, please do so.
Because we can help you and we can fine tune it for you.
Thank you for watching, and we see you again next week.
Give us your time. Thank you.